Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is Create Your Own Cozy. On this week's video, I'm going to show you some new paint techniques I learned. I promised last week I'd show you how I did the background of a couple projects that I worked on. If you want to see how these projects turn out, stick around. Or the first side of my project today is inspired by this particular board. This board was, the background of it was made by using DIY paint. So you can use a chalk-based or a clay-based paint, some petroleum jelly, a scraper, and some hairspray in between. And you're basically scraping back the layers to grab this particular technique. Second side is going to be more of a building up technique. This one here is you're building up the different layers. So I hope that you stick around and figure out how to make some backgrounds for some little projects like this, for some furniture, or for some big projects. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we're making over a pseudo door that I built in my last house. Yes, it has been here at least for 5 years. It is made with like a tongue and groove wood that I've glued together. I nailed those little boards in the back and it's raw wood. So let's get started on side one, which I'm going to call project number one. And the first thing I'm going to do is use the color Aviary. I really love this color. One of the suggestions that Tara, the girl who taught us how to do this, she has a YouTube channel, The Reclaimed Ranch. Make sure and check her out. But one of the things she suggested was to start with your darkest color. And I was excited that that was going to be Aviary. I am using the multitasker brush from DIY Paint. It holds so much paint. And since this is raw wood, it is just soaking up the paint. But I am happy with the coverage I'm getting with one coat. If you want to make sure it's a little bit thicker, you could always do 2 coats for your first coat. But I just stuck with 1 coat, knowing I am going to be layering on some paint. So once this whole thing dries, the first thing I'm going to do is get a scraper and petroleum jelly and put it all over the piece. Here is my piece dry and laid out to be easier to work on, and I am going to scrape petroleum jelly all over the piece. It can be in multiple directions. I went super heavy on my inspiration piece that I had. Not a lot of green came through because I wasn't as heavy with my petroleum jelly on the first layer. So I went really heavy with it so that when I do my second coat of paint and I scrape it back, let's see how heavy I went. That is all petroleum jelly. So I'm going to do my next coat of paint and I am going to scrape it back so that this Aviary will come through. So for my second color, I am picking Apothecary. I just love how these two colors go together, and it makes Apothecary read a little blue, and I love green and blue, and these two colors just look so good together. So what I'm doing, I'm not working it in too much. I am just doing a thick paint of Apothecary. You don't want to go back and forth like 5 or 6 times. You want to have a nice thick coat of paint and then leave it and move on. And for this big of a piece, I did work in sections. I did 2 sections, did my scraping, and then did this third section. You can see I am using my smoothie brush, which grabs also a lot of paint and is perfect for these nice flat applications. Now I am taking a scraper. You kind of get into the groove, make sure you have paper towels for the paint you're scraping off. You will have a lot of paint trash. So that's just part of this process. And I found out that I liked pulling down a little bit more, and you can find the way that works best for you. And I'm just scraping off where the paint is over the petroleum jelly. If you get too much off, you can do like what I just did and kind of scrape it back on. You will learn that you can play with the way this looks a little bit, and oh my gosh, look at how that went off the wood grain right there. To me, this just made this wood from the store look so old and found, and I just love it so much. Next, I'm adding some heat to the petroleum jelly and kind of dabbing off the shiny parts. You're not gonna get all of it off, but it's nice to get some of the excess off. And I did find that when I did the blow dryer, that some of this paint would do a little crackle. So if you're working in a really small space, you could probably get some, it really worked on with the heat and with the paint. If you got it thick, you could probably get some really cool cracking. After this is dry, I grabbed a cheap can of aerosol hairspray and just sprayed it over the whole project to set this paint in place, and then I am going to do the whole thing again. So I'm grabbing the petroleum jelly, and I am going in a little bit different directions. You can change your directions or go the same directions. I want to make sure I get some of it over the green so that that bottom layer of green comes out. And I am going to go for my third color. I'm going to go with skeleton key. Now in my other project, I did add a fourth color, white swan, but I am not going to do that in today's project. I think I want to keep with this blue-green family. My end goal now for this door is to maybe get some L brackets, attach it to the bottom, and have it be a partition or a place where I can display stuff in my booth. So that is kind of my vision for this piece, and I thought white things would look really nice off of this particular side. So now I'm just doing the same thing, scraping off the skeleton key so you can see the two colors from underneath, and I am here for it. I am just loving how this is turning out. I did one more coat of the hairspray to kind of set it. I might do a top coat after all these layers dry, but at this time, this looks good. That was the first side. Now let's do the building up technique on the second side. Now I had stained the back side of this with like a walnut stain a while back, thinking I would use like a milk paint or something over it, and I wanted there to be stained wood underneath. So what I am doing here is just taking my little dipper brush and stippling on Prairie Grey. I didn't get the stain in all the crevices, and I did not want any raw wood coming out. So I am going up and down. This is just the back side of that wood, and it has a little bit different pattern to it. So I'm stippling on very thick because I want to be building up the paint on the side along all of the lines on the board. Pretty easy. I want some of the wood to still be sticking through. This is what it looks like when I got finished. Now I need to let that dry. This is Prairie Grey. And next I'm going to grab weathered wood and do more like the first one. You see I went very vertical, and this one I'm trying to work on a horizontal so it doesn't look so planks of wood. And I really don't have a plan, except I want to cover this board up with a bunch of colors, and I'm doing it thick so the paint is kind of building up. But I also want the stained wood to kind of come through. Now in my other piece, what we did is we did 2 coats of the first color paint as your base. And you can do that too if you don't have any wood that you want to come through. So I'm kind of just modifying it for this side of the board by layering on the different coats of paint, having it be multicolored, and keep building up the paint until I'm satisfied with the final look. Here it is with the 2 different colors. Next, I'm going to get out French Millinery, which is this beautiful purple hue, and I'm going to get out some of these scrapers that I got from the Dollar Tree and just bring it over and drag it along the wood and let it go where it wants to. This is very much you do not have control over the way this looks, and I liked this creative experience. I really felt like a creative, like, I don't know, I was covered in paint because of all the scraping. Not really covered, but just had paint on me. I just felt like I was creating today, guys, and I really needed it after this week. So this was a very therapeutic experience for me. And this side is not my normal, but I thought how fun to just experiment. So this side has the stained wood, it has Prairie Grey, it has weathered wood, it has French Millinery, and then I also ended up scraping faded burlap over the top for that final. And I really like how it turned out and think it'll be a great backside of this partition, or even, you know, it could be a star in my booth. don't forget to go check out my friend Tara over on YouTube at the Reclaimed Ranch. I'll put her information in the description below. I really enjoyed learning from her. Now, she learned this technique from somebody else and is not claiming she originated this technique, but I really enjoyed learning from her. She had a sense of humor and a way of teaching that I really enjoyed. I think you will enjoy her too. Don't forget to check her out. Did you guys love today's project? Let me know in the comments below what side of the door was your favorite. I'm gonna have to say the Apothecary, Aviary, and skeleton key side is my favorite. I think the other side is fun for different uses as well. Let me know in the comments below. Did you get motivated to use a different technique on, I don't know, just something small, a piece of furniture, or you know what? Do you have a door that's brand new that you want to make look old? This is a great technique to use. If you guys are new here, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, hit your notification bell to all to get notified every time I upload a new video. I just finished the first full week of summer. Oh, I crushed it, question mark, but you know what? I finished the first full week of summer. We are still trying to figure out how mama can have a business and be a mom at the same time, and we are working it out. So let me know in the comments below how you guys are crushing this week, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.